Have you ever wondered why Black History Month was in February? Have you ever thought to yourself America was just being petty and gave us the shortest month of the year? Well, here's the truth. Black History Month was originally Black History Week and was started by Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Dr. Carter G. Woodson started Black History Week because Black youth were not being taught their true history in elementary and secondary schools. Originally only celebrated during the second week of February, Dr. Woodson chose that month because Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington celebrated their birthdays during February, and at the time, the most important events concerning the Black race occurred during that month. And with the support of President Gerald Ford, Black History Week officially became Black History Month in 1976. Black Lives Matter, y'all, all year.
No, but seriously, this isn't just a preference thing. Scholars, historians, and even the NAACP are trying to get people to change the way they talk about slavery, because when you just use words like slave or slaveholder or slave master, you take away the accountability instead of inputting the verb that describes what actually happened. So instead of calling a person a slave, you would say that that person was enslaved, or call that person a captive or someone that was kidnapped. Instead of saying slave master or slave owner or slave holder, you would say people who held other people in slavery. It's a mouthful, but it also requires a conscious thought process for you to actually consider what one person did to another person. And instead of calling someone a slave mistress or a concubine, you would just say that they were raped, because even if an enslaved woman entered a romantic relationship or a willful sexual relationship with someone who considered them to be property, if they're property, they're not able to give consent over themselves. And lastly, you wouldn't call it slave breeding because slaves didn't willfully pop out 20 babies because they wanted to. It was forced.
Happy Black History Month. Meet the Mardi Gras Indians from New Orleans. They are descendants of enslaved Africans who escaped, took refuge in nearby indigenous communities, and intermixed. Their culture is a unique blend of their West African and Native American heritage. They are famous for their colorful regalia, worn during Mardi Gras celebrations and parades.
I mean, you knew this was coming. Don't act like you didn't know this was coming. But anyway, things you didn't learn about Black History Month, Part 1. So before the Civil War, some psychiatrists diagnosed slaves with what they called drapetomania. What drapetomania is a mental illness in which the slave has a strong desire for freedom and a tendency to try to escape. So in order to treat it, they would either cut off one foot or both feet of the slaves in order to prevent them from escaping, because then it would rid them of this irrational desire. However, because they were cutting off the feet of the slaves, they now no longer had resale value. And because of this, it would cause the slaves to lose all of their value to the slave owners, and they were killed immediately after, every single time.
See, that's where y'all go wrong. Y'all see black women strafe and get the man tested, and I see black women strafe and see the ancestors. Did you know the story of Yaa Asantewaa? Well, Yaa Asantewaa was a queen in the Ashanti Empire, which is now part modern-day Ghana. Ghana and West Africa being majority of what black Americans are descendants from. Yaa Asantewaa, a woman, successfully fought off colonization of the British in West Africa. Oh my God. No. She wasn't a lieutenant. She wasn't a part of the army. She led the army. She was leading them. Now, I can't confirm or deny this, but the elders put me on game that legend has it she cut off one of her breasts just so she can aim better when killing the British. Oh my God, that's gang. So the next time you see a black woman showing strength, don't stereotype her and call her an angry black woman. Call her a descendant of her ancestors. Black is African.
In honor of Black History Month, did you know the first goth artist was a black man? While the culture came about in the UK in the 70s and 80s, Screamin' Jay Hawkins released what is considered to be the first goth song of all time. His single, I Put a Spell on You, was recorded in 1956, which is 22 years before Bauhaus was even formed. And yeah, this is the same song that would be covered years later in Hocus Pocus. Screamin' Jay also incorporated dark and occult aspects into his act long before anybody else did. This goes to show how all music can be traced back to black artists.
That's Black History. Y'all should know about my girl Zelda Wynn Valdez. She was a fashion designer, and I bet you already know her designs. That's right, she designed the Playboy bunny costume. Like, Zelda also created the NAFAD, which supported black fashion designers. Dressing figures like Eartha Kitt and Dorothy Dandridge, her hip-hugging designs paved the way for red carpet dresses we see today. Oh, I'm sorry. Remember, Black history is your history.
Did you know George Washington had slaves? Let's talk about one in particular. Anna Judge was George Washington's house slave. He was forced to work hours on empty, doing chores for his wife. However, one day when they weren't watching, Anna Judge snuck on a boat and escaped. Washington spent years trying to get people to recollect her, but they never caught her, and Anna Judge died a free woman.
Here are 3 Black History documentaries that you've got to watch this Black History Month. First up is the Black Power mixtape, available for free on YouTube. This film will radicalize you. It explores the complexities of the fledgling Black Power movement from 1967 to 1965. Next up is They've Gotta Have Us, available on Netflix. This film is about the way Black people around the world have found and made their place in the movie industry. It features some of my favorite figures in film: John Singleton, Spike Lee, Debbie Allen, Harry Belafonte, and many more. You'll love it. Last but not least is I Am Not Your Negro, available on Netflix. This one's so good, I'm just gonna play a part of the trailer for you.
If any white man in the world says, "Give me liberty or give me death," the entire white world applauds. When a black man says exactly the same thing, he is judged a criminal and treated like one, and everything possible is done to make an example of this bad nigger so there won't be any more like him.
And of course, like and follow for more.
Welcome back to Badass Latinas in History. Now, in honor of Black History Month, I will only be doing Black Latinas this month, and I'll be posting one a week. And we're gonna start off with La Reina Celia Cruz. Celia was born October 21st, 1925 in Havana, Cuba. And she was actually in school to be a teacher when she won a singing contest that propelled her music career. She became a popular attraction in Havana's nightclub scene. While still relatively unknown in the US, she joined the Fania All-Stars in the 1970s. This was a time when salsa music was on the rise. The Fania All-Stars included salsa legends like Willie Colon, Hector Lavoe, and Johnny Pacheco, but their reigning queen was Celia Cruz. Celia cemented her name as one of music's legends with a 40-year career, winning 2 Grammys, 3 Latin Grammy Awards, and being awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She passed away on July 16, 2003. Life, career, and music were celebrated with the Telemundo biographical show. And as always, we'll finish with a quote.